ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। शांति शांति शांति।
Namaste and good morning to all of you. On behalf of our Learning Express group, I, Soumya Manyar, welcome you all to another interesting and historical assembly. Now the question arises, what is Veda? Veda means Gyan, knowledge. Vedas are generally known as the scriptures of Hindu culture. Now the question arises, which is the most earliest and most important Veda of the Vedic region? Yes, the guesses are correct. It's Rig Veda. The compilation is considered to be sacred and pious to this day and holds extreme importance. It is the precedence of all Hindu texts which are to be written in generations to come. क्या आप जानते हैं ऋग वेदा ने हमें बहुत अच्छे विचारों की संस्कृति दी है। इसी के बारे में बाकी की बातें हम लोग हमारे साथियों से सुनेंगे। But before that, let us follow our tradition and get ready for the prayers. क्या आप जानते हैं ऋग वेदा ने हमें बहुत अच्छे विचारों की संस्कृति दी है। इसी के बारे में बाकी की बातें हम लोग हमारे साथियों से सुनेंगे। But before that, let us follow our tradition and get ready for the prayers.
कष्टभंजन महाबली प्रभु श्री राम के परम भक्त हनुमान जी महाराज, जिनके मुख पे तेज रहता है, जिनके हृदय में हमेशा प्रभु श्री राम की छवि बसी रहती है, जिनके दर्शन मात्र मंगलकारी है, ऐसी ही सुंदर स्तुति मंगल मूर्ति प्रस्तुत करते हैं। जय श्री राम।
सिरन हनुमत बेरा, नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा।
राम लखन सीता मन बसिया,
राम लखन सीता मन बसिया,
शरण पड़े काली जोध्या।
शरण पड़ेगा लीजो जा।
मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे,
मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे।
आन पड़ा अब तेरे द्वारे।
आन पड़ा अब तेरे द्वारे।
हे बजरंग बली हनुमान, हे महावीर करो कल्याण।
हे महावीर करो कल्याण।
मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे, मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे, मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे।
In the beginning was the non-existent, from which the existent arose. So you see, even the reality of the non-existent is being questioned. Then there was neither the non-existent nor the existent, says the Nasabya Suttam in the Rig Veda. UNESCO proclaimed the tradition of Vedic chanting a masterpiece of the oral intangible heritage of humanity in November 2008. Wayne Howard noted in the preface of his book, Veda Recitation in Varanasi, the four Vedas are not books in the usual sense. They comprise rather tonally accented verses and hypnotic abstruse melodies whose proper realizations demand oral instead of visual transmission. They are robbed of their essence when transferred to paper, for without the human touch, the innumerable nuances and intonations, inseparable parts of the four compilations, are lost completely. The upper hand in Vedic matters is never the printed page, but rather the few members who are today keeping the centuries-old tradition alive. Now, I have a question for you. Does the word Jupiter have a Sanskrit ring to it? Have you heard about the Indo-European god Deus? Words like Deva, day or Divas, divine or Divya are derived from Deus. Deus Pitra stands for sky father. Deus Pitra is the Greek god Zeus Pater. Deus Pitra, Zeus Pater. Similarly, Deus Pitra is the Roman Jupiter.
The Rig Veda is the oldest of the four Vedas. The other three Vedas, namely Yajurved, Samved and Atharva Ved, borrow and build upon the foundations of Rigvedic hymns. The ideas, characters, and myths contained in the Rig Veda provide the basis for later day Purans, epics, and Hindu thought and philosophy. Rig Veda, from Richa, appraise, and Veda, knowledge, is an ancient collection of Vedic Sanskrit hymns. It is the oldest extant text in any Indo-European languages. Oral transmission of the Rig Veda from Guru to Shishya has been so effective that ever since the codification of the Rig Veda, no aspects of the Rig Vedic hymns have undergone any change or corruption. It means that be it Kashmir, Nepal, or Kerala, every word of the Rig Veda has remained the same. Isn't that out of the world?
Some of the Rigvedic verses continue to be recited in the Hindu sanskars or the rites of passages in celebrations such as weddings and prayers, making it most probably one of the world's oldest religious texts continued in use. The marriage and death hymns found in chapter 10 are still of much greater importance in the performance of the corresponding rituals. Evidence indicates that the bulk of the Rigveda Samhita was composed in the northwestern region of the Indian subcontinent, most likely between Christ 1700 to 1000 BCE. It is most likely composed before 1900 BCE, considering that the most prominent goddess and river in the Rig Veda, Saraswati, has started drying up much before in the 19,000 BC.
The Rig Veda text consists of the Samhita, the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, and the Upanishads. The Rig Veda Samhita is the core text of the Veda. It consists of 10 mandalas or books, which in turn consist of about 1028 suktas or hymns that are spread across about 10,600 verses or richaris. The books 2 to 9 of the Rig Veda Samhita, which are considered to be older in composition, concern themselves with matters of cosmology and the praise of deities and such topics, whereas the more contemporarily written books, which are the books 1 and 10, are more concerned with metaphysical and philosophical and speculative topics, such as the concept and the virtue of dana, which is charity, or the origin of the universe, the nature of the divine, and such metaphysical questions. Books 2 through 7 of the Samhita are also called the family books because they are each written by a separate Vedic Rishi family, such as the Vashishta clan or the Vishwamitra clan or the Atri clan. The codification of the Rig Veda is believed to have happened somewhere around the 1200 BCE in a Kuru kingdom by a Bharat king. Here codification refers to the act of compiling the entire Veda, which means putting all the hymns together into one cumulative text.
Each book or mandala consists of certain hymns and suktas intended for various rituals. Each sukta consists of stanzas known as richas. Each and every hymn in the Rig Veda are in different poetic meters. The most used poetic meters are Gayatri, Anushtup, Trishtup, and Jagati. It means 3 verses and 8 stanzas in each hymn. This even applies for all the other meters. The hymn most popularly known as the Gayatri Mantra is actually devoted to Lord Savitri, but is composed in Gayatri Chand. Lord Savitri signifies the vivifying power of the sun. Tat Savitur Varenyam. This is the most popular one in the Gayatri Chand, and hence it is known as the Gayatri Mantra.
Rig Veda hymns
are dedicated to various deities, chief of whom are Indra, Agni, Som, the Adityas or Asuras, gods Mitra, Varun and Ushas, the dawn. Also invoked are Savitar, Vishnu, Pushan, who are all solar deities, and Rudra, Brihaspati, as well as defied natural phenomena such as Dyaspita, the shining sky, Father Heaven, Prithvi, Mother Earth, Surya, Vayu, Apas, the waters, Parjanya, the thunder and rain, Vak, the word, and many rivers, notably the Sapta Sindhu and Saraswati rivers. Even though Indra appears to be the most celebrated deity in the Rig Veda, there is no consistent subordination of the other gods to Indra. In Vedic thought, all gods and goddesses are equivalent and aspects of the same eternal abstract Brahman, none consistently superior, none consistently inferior. All gods obey Indra, but all gods also obey Varun, Vishnu, Rudra and others when the situation arises.
Talking about Indra, Indra is not a visible object of nature, nor is he a personification of any object, but the agent which causes the lightning, the rains and the rivers to flow. Indra in the Rig Veda is the Ganpati. Ganpati now is a different god loved by all. Indra is also Hari and Govind, which we now associate to Vishnu or Krishna. Rita. Rita in the Vedic religion is the principle of natural order which regulates and coordinates the entire operation of the universe and everything within it. Rita has been characterized as the one thought which pervades the entire of the Rigvedic thought. The whole cosmos aligns itself from chaos to order continuously. This dynamic alignment, which is harmonious, is the flow of Rita. That which is harmonious but also ethically right. The ethical right is therefore aligning yourself to a concept of harmony with yourself, with the greater society, and with nature. Indra represents the willpower, the nature, and also the striking force that establishes the Rita. Varuna, along with Mitra, presides over the observance of Rita. Thus, Varuna is a judge before whom a human being may stand guilty. From Rita, we have the word Ritu, meaning seasons. And we also have a couple of names. Rita, Ruta, Ritik, Ritvik, Rutuja, Ritesh, etc. Even Persian names like Ardashir or Axetasis is the emperor.
The significance of the Vedic deities diminished after the Vedic period to the extent that some of the devs are shown in bad light in the Purans and the epics. Lord Indra turns into a rain god, into the king of gods, who behaves just like any other king. Varun becomes the god of the sea. But you could still find them today in temples as guardian deities in different directions, like Indra in the east, Varun in the west, etc. Indra, Varun, Saraswati are worshipped as far as Japan. 2 of the ships in the United States Navy have been named USS Varun. The Vedic Rudra later developed into Shiv as we know him today, and his fame increased steadily. The same is true for Lord Vishnu, who became one of the most popular divinities in Hinduism. The concept of dharma, as we know it today, has its roots in Reet, which could be defined as the actions required for the universe to sustain. In other words, dharma is a set of rules for life to flourish.
Far more archaic than any other Indo-Aryan text. Hence, it is the center of attraction for the Western scholarship from the time of Max Muller onwards. It consisted of the basics of Vedic literature, and it has strong linguistic and cultural connections with Iranian Avesta and Parsi scriptures. Like any other archaic text, it was hard to translate it into modern language. As Tal says, Rig Veda is the earliest, most vulnerable, obscure, distant and difficult to translate in the modern language. Hence, it is mostly misinterpreted. And Jamieson says that there is no such complementary text which makes it hard to interpret.
Some of the names of gods and goddesses found in the Rig Veda are found by belief systems based on Proto-Indo-European religions, while some of them share common roots with some words used from other Indo-European religions. Now, we have already talked about the Dyapas Pitra, so now let's take a look at other gods and words. Agni, which in English means ignite, Ushas in Hindi, which means Usha or Ausra in Lithuania, Apas, aqua, water, Ashwa, equus, horse, Dumas, fumes, Duhitra, daughter. And by the way, the twin gods Ashwins or the Ashwini Kumars are still found at the top of the houses in Lithuania, a country in the south of Sweden. They call it there as Aswinias or little horses.
Rig Veda in contemporary Hinduism has been a reminder of ancient cultural heritage and point of pride to Hindus. With some hymns still in use in major rites of passage ceremonies, but the literal acceptance of most of the textual essence is long gone. Musicians and dance groups celebrate the text as mark of Hindu heritage. Incorporating the Rigvedic hymns in their compositions, such as Hamsadhwani of Carnatic music, and these have been popular from decades.
According to Axel Michaels, most Indians today only pay lip service to the Vedas and hold little to no regard about the content of the texts. According to Andrea Pinke, the social history and context of the Vedas is highly distinct compared to the contemporary Hindu religious beliefs and practices. However, the reverence that we hold towards our Vedas, it just goes on to show our respect that we have towards our Indian culture and our heritage. You'll be surprised to know, but all of the data that we have articulated about questions such as how do you stop the destruction of nature, how do you prevent pollution, or how do you conserve our natural resources, all of the solutions were practiced in ancient India. Well, why you ask? It's simply because of Rita, the natural order of things. It states that Rita is a self-propelling design that binds the living with the living and the non-living and with the non-living and both of them with each other. Isn't that so much surprising and so much insightful? This is the context of the Vedas, and this is what it teaches us. Well, I want you, all of you watching, to do one thing for me. I want you to remember this assembly. All of the context that we have discussed in the Vedas, because these are things that are highly important, that are really important when it comes to studying the Vedas. Thank you.
After listening all the facts of Rig Veda, let us represent the tradition, history and belief of a nation and its people through national anthem. Assembly sound done!
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Assembly Vishram. Now, I would like to invite Shivram sir to discuss their point to soldier.
When in a game of Chinese Whisper, a sender sends a message, a receiver receives a message, but when the receiver sends the message again, the message gets distorted or corrupted. But now let's try and see the beauty of Indian Rishi Parampara, in which for 2000 years, a message which was sent never got corrupted. And that's the Parampara of Shruti. By speaking and listening, the entire Gyan of Rishis transferred from Guru to Shishya, to Shishya, to Shishya. And now we have a very rich repository of knowledge, which is called the system of knowledge, that is Vedas. The four Vedas and Upanishads form the backbone of Indian heritage and culture, on which India claims to be the spiritual capital of the world. But these rishis did not ever sign on any of these Vedas. These rishis did not ever claim a patent, always worked selflessly for the benefit of others. The question is, are Vedas meant for me? Can I study Vedas? Do I need to go into the forest to study Vedas and Upanishads? No. The answer is, the one who is a seeker can study Vedas and Upanishads. As soon as you start having questions about anything, Vedas and Upanishads range from a subject like human body. What is the human body made up of? That's Ayurveda. It has to do with Ayu, which is about health and wellness. And it also talks about archery, Dhanur Veda. It talks about Jyotish Shastra. It talks about palmistry. It talks about the planetary motions. It talks about everything and anything about human existence. It is said Ananta Vai Vedaha, which means the systems of knowledge are infinite. And in times when Barack Obama comes to India and declares knowledge is the currency of 21st century, I'm sure most of us are seekers of knowledge. So anybody who has ever questioned, who am I? What is this human body for? How was this earth or globe formed? How did this world come into existence? What is the concept of God? Is he or she, or does he even exist or not? Is he formless or does he have a form? Why do we worship idols? What is life after death? Is there life basically after death or not? And what is the concept of death? All such questions. And yes, one more question. How do I live happily? Because at the end of every story comes a line, and they lived happily ever after. But is it a fact in our lives? Are we really happy? And how can we have eternal happiness? All these questions are answered in Vedas and Upanishads. Finally, let us resolve to go upwards in our journey from truth to higher truth, because Vivekananda ji said, life is not meant to go from untruth to truth, but the journey of life is meant to go from truth to higher truth. Let us have better questions and we'll derive better answers. 2 recommendations from my side today. A book, a must read, an excellent read by Rupa Pai, Vedas and Upanishads for Children, and the Sanskrit channel on YouTube. I think we'll be able to serve Sanskrit better and allow Sanskrit to work its charm upon us. And then in true sense, we shall be able to call ourselves Indians after knowing the essence of being Indian within us. Thank you.
So friends, this is the end of today's assembly. I hope you enjoyed this fantabulous historical assembly. And yes, I would like to thank the technical team, music team, and all the members of this assembly for their efforts. Now, let us listen to the exit song from the music team.
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान। ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान। रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम। करता जइए घरना काम मुख थी लइए राम नु नाम। करता जइए घरना काम मुख थी लइए राम नु नाम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम। पतित पावन सीताराम।